Have you ever noticed how many men over 50 rush into relationships, not because they truly want a woman, but because they're terrified of being alone? It's the quiet fear nobody admits, especially not men our age. Before we dive in, hit the like button. It helps the channel reach more men who need this message. And answer this in the comments. Do you think men over 50 should date casually or look for something serious? Why now, let's get into today's topic. And yes, it's a controversial one. 5 reasons to never have a girlfriend after 50 and 60. Through the lens of modern Stoicism. And before you assume this is about bitterness or isolation, let me make something clear. This is about power, it's about clarity, it's about emotional freedom. It's about understanding the traps that older men walk into. The traps that quietly drain their energy, sabotage their peace, and distort their masculinity. Let's set the stage with a simple truth. The villain in this story isn't women. The villain is attachment without awareness. It's the tendency for men over 50 to give up their boundaries because they're grateful for the attention. It's the hunger for validation after divorce, loneliness, or years of being unseen. It's the belief that a girlfriend will fix a hole in your life that only disciplined purpose and self-respect can repair. Stoicism gives us the perfect lens here. Never attach your happiness to anything you can't control. And let's be honest, a girlfriend is the definition of something you cannot control. So let's break down the first 3 reasons. And these apply to 95% of men in the US, UK, Canada, or Australia who hit their 50s and 60s and start thinking, maybe it's time to settle down again. Reason 1, most women your age aren't looking for love. They're looking for security. This isn't judgment, it's reality. And reality is what Stoicism demands we face. When you're a man in your 50s or 60s, you finally have what younger men don't. Stability experience, emotional control, a calmer, masculine presence, financial confidence. Women, especially those in the same age bracket, notice this immediately, but here's the twist. Most are not drawn to you because of who you are. They're drawn to what you can provide. And men over 50 often confuse this attention with genuine desire. Stoic truth attraction built on convenience will collapse the moment the convenience disappears. Think of it like this: you buy a boat. Your friends suddenly want to hang out more. Are they visiting you or visiting the boat? Older men are the boat far more often than they realize. I've coached countless men who entered a relationship believing, she really likes me for me. But 6 months later, they're paying for everything. Solving all emotional crises, adjusting their lives, and receiving almost nothing in return. It's not malicious, it's evolutionary. It's practical, it's human nature. But it becomes a trap if you're unaware. Reason 2, you will lose your freedom faster than you think. Men in their 50s and 60s finally reach a stage where life starts to make sense. You've survived heartbreak, careers, kids, family issues, health scares. You've earned your peace, you've earned your quiet mornings. You've earned your ability to say no without guilt. But the moment you enter a committed relationship, guess what happens? You trade your freedom for companionship. And often, the companionship you receive isn't worth the freedom you lose. You start adjusting your schedule. You stop doing what you love as often. You start managing someone else's emotional world. You begin shrinking your life to maintain harmony. Stoicism teaches one powerful principle. Guard your inner fortress. Your peace is non-negotiable. Your time is sacred, your energy is the currency that determines the quality of your entire life. Yet countless older men willingly hand all 3 away. Within months of getting a girlfriend, here's a practical example. A man retires finally ready to travel train, meditate, build a new life. He gets a girlfriend and suddenly his trips get delayed. His gym routine collapses. He spends weekends on her plans. Not his, he's managing her anxiety. Her family issues her expectations. His fortress slowly gets invaded, not by a villain, but by his own lack of boundaries. Reason 3, emotional responsibility will shift onto you. This is where most men underestimate the weight of a relationship. At this age, women, especially after 50, often carry emotional history, unhealed heartbreak, past divorces, unresolved resentment, adult children drama, financial anxieties, social insecurities, health concerns. You will become the emotional anchor. You will become the stability she leans on. You will be the problem solver, the reassurance provider, the therapist, the emotional safety net. And again, none of this makes her a bad person, but it does mean something crucial. If you take on someone else's emotional life, you sacrifice your own. Older men underestimate the emotional bandwidth this requires. At 25, you can handle relationship turbulence because you have energy to burn. At 55, you need your energy for your health, your purpose, your peace. A relationship becomes a weight, not a support. Stoics remind us, a man must be the master of his inner weather. But most older men end up trying to control someone else's storm instead. And when you constantly manage another person's emotional world, you lose yourself. You stop noticing your needs. You stop prioritizing your well-being. You even stop pursuing your personal goals. You trade self-mastery for emotional babysitting. And the worst part, it happens slowly, almost silently, and by the time you realize it, your identity has already shifted. Reason 4, relationships after 50 often push you into a caretaking role. Here's a truth most men in their 50s and 60s won't say out loud. A girlfriend at this age often becomes another responsibility. Not a partner, not always, but often enough that you cannot ignore it. Women over 50 deal with real challenges. Health fluctuations, hormonal shifts, mobility issues, chronic stress, emotional fatigue, financial instability, complicated family dynamics, aging parents, adult children or grandchildren needing help. Who becomes the emotional and logistical support? You, not because you want to, but because you're the calmer one, the logical one, the grounded one, the one who handles pressure better, the one who listens instead of exploding. And when you're that man, you naturally start absorbing weight. Stoicism warns against this exact scenario. Don't take on burdens that don't belong to you. But in a relationship after 50, the lines blur. You start compromising your habits, your peace, your routines. You cancel commitments to help her family. You become the driver, the planner, the emergency contact, the emotional stabilizer. You entered the relationship looking for companionship. Suddenly you're a caretaker. Let me paint a picture I've seen dozens of times. A man in his 60s meets a woman who seems fun, charming, lighthearted. 6 months in, she's dealing with medical appointments, conflict with her grown children, stress from past relationships, unresolved trauma or deep insecurities about aging. Who absorbs all of that? You do. Why? Because you're reliable, because you care, because you don't want to be the bad guy, because you're empathetic. But here's the harsh truth. When you take on roles you didn't choose, you lose the man you've spent decades becoming. You become responsible for a life that isn't yours, and once that dynamic begins, it rarely stops. Reason 5. You risk losing the prime of your masculine renaissance. This is the final and arguably the most important reason. Men between 50 and 70 enter a strange, powerful chapter of life. Your testosterone might be lower than it was at 30, but your masculine essence is sharper than ever. You're wiser, calmer, more grounded, more selective, more confident in silence, more aware of what matters. This is your renaissance, a rebirth. But the moment you tie yourself to a girlfriend, especially one who isn't aligned with your lifestyle, peace or pace, you risk losing that renaissance entirely, because relationships naturally demand compromise. And compromise is often the enemy of personal rebirth. You've worked your whole life to reach this stage. Your mornings are finally your own. Your finances are steadier. Your stress tolerance is higher. You know yourself inside and out. You're less impulsive, you think before you speak. You understand what drains you and what strengthens you. But when you commit to a relationship, the following happens almost inevitably. You start putting her needs above your own. You adjust your habits to avoid conflict. You limit your free time. You hide your desires to maintain harmony. You shrink your world to fit the relationship. You stop prioritizing your physical and mental growth. Your renaissance becomes a half-lived version of itself. Stoicism teaches that purpose must remain the center of a man's life. Not romance, not validation, not companionship, purpose. Yet men over 50 often get so excited by the attention of a woman that they sideline their purpose entirely, sometimes without even realizing it. A relationship may add warmth to your life, but it may also dim the fire you've spent decades trying to ignite. The cost is not just emotional, it's spiritual, it's energetic. It's the cost of becoming someone smaller in order to keep someone else comfortable. And you must ask yourself, is this the price you're willing to pay at this stage of your life? Let's make this absolutely clear. This video is not saying you should avoid women, or avoid connection, or avoid dating. It's saying something far more important. Never enter a relationship from weakness, loneliness, or fear. Enter only from strength, self-respect, and full awareness. A Stoic man chooses. He doesn't cling, he doesn't chase. He doesn't bargain, he doesn't shrink. He evaluates, he observes. He decides from clarity, not from emotional hunger. The true Stoic path isn't to reject relationships, but to refuse the ones that cost you your peace, your purpose, or your freedom. If you ever choose to have a woman in your life, let it be because she adds to your life, not because she fills a hole. You might be wondering, so what should a man over 50 or 60 do instead? Here's the blueprint, simple, powerful, and brutally honest. 1. Prioritize purpose. Your mission is the spine of your masculinity. Make it non-negotiable. 2. Value peace over companionship. A quiet home is worth more than a loud relationship. Choose peace every time. 3. Date casually, not committed. If you want female energy around you, enjoy it without sacrificing your freedom. Be clear, respectful, and honest. 4. Keep emotional boundaries sharp. Support but do not absorb. Be present but do not carry. 5. Protect the renaissance. This chapter of your life is rare and powerful. Don't let anyone, including yourself, diminish it, because a man who emerges strong after 50 becomes someone younger men admire, and women of all ages naturally gravitate toward. Not because he is trying, but because he is centered. At the end of the day, a girlfriend is not the problem. The problem is entering a relationship blindly, without understanding what's at stake. A Stoic man over 50 knows this truth. Freedom is priceless, peace is sacred. purpose is everything, guard them fiercely. If a woman enhances these things, great. If not, you walk away without hesitation, because the man you are becoming in your 50s and 60s is far more valuable than the comfort of any relationship. If this message hit you, drop the phrase "I choose peace" in the comments below, so I know you're a man who understands the deeper lesson. And of course, like the video to help more men find this message.